In 1997, Michael Jordan won Game 5 of the NBA Finals while battling the flu. He went on to win the series, and he went on to win his second three-peat in the NBA Finals. In 2008, Michael Phelps set 7 world records and won 8 gold medals. He swam 18 races in 7 days, an absolutely unheard of feat. In 2005, Tiger Woods sunk an impossible chip on the 16th hole after going 2 over in the first round, and he went on to clinch his 4th green jacket. These are all incredible feats by some of the best athletes to ever play their sport. And while they all play different sports and have very, very different skill sets, what they all have in common is a mental edge. They all have psychological traits that set them apart from everyone else. To the average person, these might seem like physical traits, the result of a lot of practice. However, it is really the result of an outstanding mentality. So, across all sports, we see very similar traits come up. These traits are ambition, anxiety, and confidence. And while all these great athletes possess these traits, they come in different combinations, and sometimes certain athletes have more of one than another. Now, I thought it best to use my resources as an example in this study. I took a poll of various Olympic athletes, 16 Olympic swimmers, men, women, sprinters, distance swimmers of various strokes, and I compiled the results, and I will refer to them throughout this. So, what is in the psychological makeup of these, and why does it make the best the best? Why does it separate the top 1% from the rest of the top 10? The first is ambition. Every great athlete wanted to be great at some point. Now, a great example can be seen through the goal-setting processes that these athletes go through. Lots of athletes set goals, but what makes the best is they set specific, unique, long-term, and most of all, ambitious goals. A great example is Kobe Bryant when he was 17 years old. He said he wanted to be the best basketball player he could possibly be. And this kept him chasing throughout his career in the NBA. And if you asked him today if he achieved that goal, he probably would not be sure. Additionally, when Michael Phelps was 15 years old, he said he wanted to change the sport of swimming. He said that he wanted to be the reason that swimming was on ESPN. And through the next 16 years and 5 Olympic Games, that is what he did. I polled a group of Olympic swimmers, and the first question I asked them was, out of all of you, how many of you had at some point written down that your goal was to make the Olympic team? And 100% of them had written down that goal. I followed that with, at what age did you write this goal? The oldest of that group was a junior in high school. The youngest of that group was 5 years old. And I followed that up with, were any of you in a position to make the Olympic team when you made this your goal? And not a single one of them felt that they were in a position. This is just a small sample, but what it does is it illustrates the ambition of people before they were good on their way to becoming great. The next trait is anxiety. And when I say anxiety, I don't want you to think that the best athletes in the world are the best just because they are more stressed out and suffer from more anxiety. This is not what I mean. The best of the best know how to manage their anxiety and use it to their advantage. There was a survey done by the United States Olympic Committee in 1988. They asked everyone in the Olympic Village if they suffered from anxiety. And they found that over 70% of these athletes suffer from what they consider to be severe anxiety. Now, the reason it's in the psychological makeup of these elite athletes is because they can use it to their advantage and they can find the sweet spot. Kelly McGonigal, in her TED Talk about stress, talks about the physiological reactions to stress. The increased body temperature, the increased heart rate, and awareness. And these athletes can use this to their advantage and get an advantage over their competition. In my survey, I asked every Olympic athlete, where is your heart rate a minute before your event? What I found is that they all thought their heart rate was between 140 and 180 beats per minute, which is far above their average resting heart rate of 70 beats per minute. What this did for them is it allowed them to get out to a good start by increasing blood flow and getting ready to go. On the flip side of this, these athletes need to manage their anxiety outside of their sport to remain calm and recover well. Stress can impact performance weeks or even months before an event. And when it's not managed, it can really take away from your training. I asked my group of athletes, how often do you think about your sport while you're not training or competing? And they all agreed that they thought little to none about this. And this is just another example of how these athletes control their anxiety to perform at the best. Finally, there's confidence. Confidence comes into play at a different time. This comes into play during a competition. Olympic coach Dave Durden talks about challenging confidence during training and building confidence into a meet. Confidence is built over a long time through a series of successes. It's kind of like a snowball effect. You succeed and you gain a little confidence, and then you continue to succeed. So why does it make these athletes the best of the best? Well, we can see the importance of confidence through the science of self-talk. Psychology Today compiled results from 32 different studies surrounding this topic. What they concluded is that the specific words that you say to yourself directly impact your performance. They took a group of athletes and they had them perform a simple athletic task, a run, a jump, a lift, something along those lines. Then they took a group and they made them use positive self-talk. They said things like, I can do this, or even, I am the greatest. And they had them perform those tasks again. They also had a group use negative self-talk. Things like, this is really hard, and I don't know if I can do this. What they found was that those that used positive self-talk far outperformed their baseline scores, and those that used negative self-talk underperformed. That is a very unsurprising result. And the last of my questions that I posed to the group of Olympians that I had mentioned before was, how confident were you that you were going to make the Olympic team? 14 out of the 16 athletes said that they were 100% sure they were going to make the Olympic team at least 6 months before the trials. The other 2 athletes said they weren't 100% sure, but still believed they were highly confident. This is just another example of how the best athletes believe that they are the best and use this to their advantage. So, next time you're watching Tom Brady or Serena Williams, Michaela Schifrin, don't focus on their strength, their speed, their skills. Think about what they might be thinking. Think about their mentality and how that's helping them. It might change the way you watch sports. And for those of you who don't watch sports, if you're bored, turn it on occasionally. Because these traits, while they're portrayed heavily in these athletes, they're not exclusive. And you could learn something that could help you perform better in school, your hobbies, your job, or whatever you may be pursuing.